What's up, Unruffled listeners? My name is Fridge. I am your host of the Unruffled Podcast, and this is the first time that we're not only going to be broadcasting onto the auditory medium of Spotify, Apple Podcasts, etc., etc. We're also going to be broadcasting to the visual medium Goliath that is YouTube. Very excited about this. This is something that I've been wanting to do for quite some time now, and it's finally a reality. We're going to be talking about a delicious little beer by the name of Big Country. Now, this beer was made in part to celebrate a longtime employee of HenHouse Brewing Company, Nick M, aka Big Country himself. And not only was this beer made to celebrate him, but this beer was a collaborative effort between us and the super radical clothing and beer lifestyle brand of sorts from Southern California called Beer Savage. So we're going to be talking about all of the interesting facts that you didn't know that went into making this delicious beer a reality. And without further ado, let's get this thing rolling. Let's introduce all of the fine fellows behind this amazing beer. Cheers. Hey guys.
Hey, what's up, Fridge?
What's up?
Hello.
Oh, we're getting into the beer already. Yeah, Big Country. May as well start drinking the beer.
Mm-hmm.
Pour it up.
Ooh. That is a damn fine looking beer, if I might say so myself. Good job, Nick.
Oh, dude, it's not hazy. It must be broken.
So I already introduced myself. Why don't we introduce you over here, Mr. Big
Nick.
Country?
I am Nick, Mr. Big Country.
Awesome.
I'll go. I'm Josh, art department for the HenHouse Brewing Company.
And I'm Tyler, Beer Savage. That is I.
That's what's up. So what are we talking about today, guys? We're talking about a man, a myth, a legend, and we're talking about a delicious wheat lager. Is that correct?
That is what we are talking about.
Heck yeah. So Nick, where did you get that nickname, man? Who started calling you Big Country? Was this like self-anointed or what happened?
Fuck no, dude. You can't give yourself a nickname. That's not cool at all. I used to work at a restaurant in Sebastopol, and I was kitchen manager there. And I was, back then, I let my redneck out a little bit more than I do now.
As you do.
And I also, I worked the late shift. I started 3 or 4 in the afternoon. So I would be doing whatever I was doing during the day. And I'd show up to work and I'd be in my boots and my Wranglers. And I used to chew Copenhagen back then.
Oh.
So I was by
Real
far
country.
the most. Yeah. So I'd get a lot of shit for that. And one of the servers just one day was like, "Oh, what's up, Big Country?" And it just kind of stuck. And I was like, well, of all the nicknames to have, that's not a terrible one. So
can you like give us an example of what letting one's redneck out would look like?
Yeah.
it was mostly that I wore boots and Wranglers every day.
Oh, for sure.
And my Wranglers had a Copenhagen ring in the back pocket.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that clear, defined Copenhagen ring in the back of the
And
tight denim
and then
jeans.
And then after after work, I'd put those clothes back on and party all night. So that was me. I was just partying in Sebastopol in my boots and Wranglers.
For sure. Yeah, I remember the like one and only time I ever tried Copenhagen was on the El Molino High School track and field. My football buddies, they're like, "Here, why don't you try this, Fridge? You know, you look like you're gonna love it. I mean, you look the type. And I'm like, okay. And I just go like this, like right onto my tongue. And I'm like, this tastes horrible. This isn't, I don't understand why do people do this? And then I proceeded to get very nauseous and spit up all of that, chow mein noodles, or rather top ramen noodles that I had for lunch.
That's what us stupid West County kids did back in the day, right?
Yeah. You know, if I wasn't lighting my shoes on fire for laughs or something like that, I would be straight swallowing whole amounts of chewing tobacco.
We used to just sit in the parking lot after football practice and all chew illegally. Because that's what high school kids do.
That's statute of limitations, right? I think we can't get in trouble for it now, especially now that you know, I don't know about what high school did you go to, Nick?
I went to Annalee.
You went to Annalee? Okay. Yeah, because they're actually rivals, El Molino, I hear, is maybe going to go away, and they're gonna combine Annalee and Elmo into one due to budget cuts.
They're talking about it. I don't think it's gonna happen. It wouldn't make any sense, but that's what they're talking about.
You know, for the uninitiated, we are talking about West County, which I am a born and bred Guernevillionaire. I actually was born as a river rat, Guern Vegas, you know, the Wood Hood, out there at the river. Time moves a little slowly, more slow rather than it does in the hustlin' bustlin' city of Santa Rosa. Spent my first 16 years out there, and it was a very formative time. So you went to Annalee, Nick. What's your hometown?
Sebastopol. Well, I'm from the unincorporated Sonoma County part of Sebastopol. So we are the hick part of Sebastopol and not the hippie part.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there's, you know, it's a Venn diagram, a very complicated one, many circles.
It's confusing.
In Sebastopol.
Yeah.
And it also,
Sebastopol's a weird place, man.
Yeah. Did you learn how to drive there too, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's like the worst.
They used to.
It's the worst,
it's even worse
setup
now
that I've ever seen in any town.
Yeah, when I go back there now, I'm like, dude, I didn't know you could make this town any worse to drive in, but they did.
I think
they pulled that off for sure.
I remember like there was like this like poll going around at one point, like what is the worst city to drive in? And like a lot of us were like campaigning, at least in my friend group, like Sebastopol definitely. But we hadn't been anywhere else because we're uncultured swine.
For no fucking reason.
Well, it's a pleasure to get acquainted with you and the viewers to get to see you. You know, you are kind of one of the main people behind our beer. You're the man behind the beer. And, you know, something I really like about Big Country is it's celebrating the brewer. And I think it's important for us to bring you out of the back of the house and, you know, show you around to the people so they get to know you. And, you know, I don't know if you would agree, but I think the brewer is kind of often the unsung hero of this whole thing that we do.
Oh, 100%. I don't think many people know their brewers, not to steal the Sante term, but it's not 100% the people's fault. Brewers, we tend to be shy. I mean, there's a reason why we don't get into sales and marketing. We just want to mind our own business and make our product and not deal with the people.
Well, you know, we're lucky to have you because you're so multifaceted. You're basically the first HenHouse movie star after this movie project that we did here. But let's continue on. Let's introduce the rest of the guests a little bit more. Josh, you're the head of the art department. You're our gosh, you know, our Rambro. You know, I don't know if that's the right. What's a good artist? I don't know. I'm super uncultured today.
I thought you were making reference to John Rambo somehow, but
I mean,
not me.
Yes, you could be John Rambo too.
I don't know what artist
Rembrandt. That's what I was thinking of. Okay.
I thought you knew how to pronounce Rembrandt. I've been pronouncing it wrong the whole time also.
Very possible. Let's go with that.
I ain't no Rembrandt, but I like drawing and I've always been drawing stuff. And so and I've been around this company since they first started. So I was the closest artist they knew. So I've been doing the logos for the company since the start. And once we started canning beer and bottling beer, doing all the art for that stuff as well. So I'm just been from the ground up, been here the whole time. So we do occasionally work with other artists, which is always a pleasure. Great illustrators and great designers for collabs and that kind of stuff. So that's one of my favorite parts of the job. Well, not only because it doesn't take forever for me to come up with an idea and design it, but because I get to work with great artists like the guys at Beer Savage, like our friend Blanca Molina, a number of other artists, our friend Jeff, who did this Witchcraft shirt. There's times where we get to really kind of shake it up. But for the most part, it's all my drawings, which is for better or for worse. There's a style there.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of collabs with artists, yeah, that's kind of why we're here right now.
Exactly, yeah.
We got a pretty radical dude over here on my bottom left. Not sure how that's going to orient when you guys are watching this, but Tyler, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself a little bit more, buddy?
Sure. Tyler, I started Beer Savage, almost a decade ago, and I live down in Southern California. I'm actually in Orange County. I grew up in Fallbrook, which is kind of like the sticks of San Diego, like I said. I was working in the action sports world for a really long time. I worked for a company called Active Ride Shop. I was there for 17 years, and the latter part of my career there was retail operations. So I had to run 30 locations and hundreds of employees, and decided it was getting a little much, and Beer Savage was kind of doing its thing. So I just sailed away and did my own thing.
Well, can you describe to us like what Beer Savage is? Like what is the essence of Beer Savage? Like for the uninitiated, much like we talk about West County over here. I'm sure you can give us a more flavorful or colorful description coming from the man himself, the man behind the Beer Savage.
Yeah, I'll give you a quick little backstory. So it was 2008 the last big recession that we had, and I had lost my position at the time. My wife lost her job as a teacher, and it was rough. And hey, what better things to do? Let's go drink wine out in wine country in Temecula, right? Just
absolutely
drown yourself with a few glasses of Cabernet. And I was looking around, and I'm just kind of like understanding like what the culture looked like, and it's more the nose in the air, kind of pinky out kind of feel. And craft beer at the time really wasn't what it is obviously today. I would argue that craft beer is almost more pretentious than wine is sometimes. But,
depending on where you are, I could agree with that. I feel like at HenHouse we pride ourselves of not being pretentious. I think beer personally is like the everyman's drink, and it should be approachable. So I always, want to make sure that I'm not like coming off as a snob whenever I was bartending. I would want people to be able to feel comfortable, depending, not, it didn't matter how much they knew. And oftentimes, like for me, like my customers, I would, get somebody kind of into beer, build a friendship, and then they would go off and learn a bunch of stuff and come back, and then they would know way more than I would all of a sudden, And,
no, it's cool. And a lot of it's not even the brewers or like the beer buyers. It was a lot of the people. It's like arguing over music. I feel like sometimes.
Sure.
But I was out, and we were out in Temecula, and I was looking at this idea that I'm like, what about the blue collar guy? What about this idea that you can create a fun brand that everyone can connect with? And it's more of like I used a movement because I was trying to be profound at the time, but it's just this idea that we're all connected by the liquid. Because I have a favorite bar down here in Newport Beach, and it's like the best dive bar ever, but it's just a super long, like 25 seat just bar. And I'm like, all these people are here for the same reason. They don't know each other, but they're there for the same reason, to have a beer. So why not try to build something that allows you to speak to one another through a common thing like beer? And so Beer Savage is created as this idea that the logo is that feeling that you get inside that when you want a beer. So it was this kind of, like I said, this kind of profound thing. And it was fun. Started an Instagram, printed a couple t-shirts, and then people loved it and they wanted more of like what it is. Like, is it a brand? Is it this? I'm like, no, it's just a gathering of people who like beer, and it's supposed to be fun because beer is fun.
Absolutely. Yeah, I 100% agree with that. And,
And
we're not about being pretentious snobs out of here. We're all about being the fun savages, right? So it's almost like, would you say that like a savage is the antithesis of a snob?
Yeah, technically, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's
the anti-snob.
Yeah, exactly.
The anti-snob. Well, it's funny because it's like a lot of people, like, I mean, we all started on dad's beer. Like, mine in the fridge with my dad was like Miller Lite, Coors Light, something simple and clean. And that's just what people started. And then, I grew up very close to Stone. And when Stone was introduced, what is that, mid 90s or whatever, it was like, what is this stuff? Like, it's big. Like,
it's delicious.
How do you, yeah. So it kind of was like, well, let's try something new and different. But you're like, how much? Like, I can get a 30 rack for like $14. So it's like you're spending $14 on a 6-pack. I'm like, and then it's just one of those things. That's just how, like, people grow into beer, and then they just their palates start evolving. It's just like anything else. Like,
well, like for me, like when I was a young rascal running around the river, I wasn't super into beer at first. It was more like brown liquor, and then, people would bring around these like 30 packs of Bud, hanging out under the Guerneville Bridge with a bunch of, God, what's that motorcycle gang that everyone talks about? The Hells Angels. Yeah. My buddy's uncle was like a leader in the Hells Angels. So we're all just like chilling under the bridge, like drinking a 30-pack of Budweiser. And I was like, this stuff sucks. I hate beer. I know why people like beer. And then like when I turned 21, which was earlier in that story for sure, I realized like, oh man, there's all these different kinds of beer, and it was really just exploding at the time. I always say I like kind of learned how to drink at my buddy's tap room. One of the the founder of Cooperage Brewing Company, Tyler, used to run the tap room inside of Whole Foods. That's
where house. That's where I learned beer too.
Yeah,
that's when Tyler was the beer buyer over there. Me and Jim, who gave me the Big Country name, and Zach, who's now the head brewer at Moonlight. Right after I turned 21, and I actually lived across the street in the ghetto. We would go there on Sundays after work, and Rachel, who used to be a bartender at Cooper's, now is at Russian River. Mm-hmm. She would like be like, okay, well, here's the double IPA I know you want because you're uncultured and you're a savage, but also try this lambic, try this Belgian, try this thing. And Zach would make me try all this stuff too, and that's really where I learned beer too, was when Tyler was in charge over there at Whole Foods. Yeah,
and like I really appreciated how he was just like open to, educating people and not being like super snobbish about it. It's just like, if you want to learn about the thing I'm super psyched about, cool, and I sort of took that with me too. And like, I remember tasting Green Flash Imperial IPA for the first time, and I was just like, oh my God, this beer, like this is what beer can be. Oh, amazing. Let's talk about the beer a little bit more. I am loving drinking it, Nick. So well done there. And also thanks for existing, so we get to have this cool beer in the first place. Do you want to tell us a little bit about like how, like, the origin story of this beer, of Big Country the beer? We've heard the origins of Big Country the man. Now let's hear about Big Country the beer.
So the first version of this beer started, it was kind of when I first moved into production at HenHouse, or like full-time production. And in those days, it was just me and Shane. And we spent most of our days just bullshitting and talking about the industry and stuff like that. And we had time back then. We only brewed 1 or 2 days a week, not 3 times a day. Mm-hmm. And the dude is obsessed with wheat. Like, if you look back at the history of HenHouse, like Saison, a bunch of wheat. Oyster Stout even has chocolate wheat in it. And then HenHouse IPA, a bunch of wheat. Like, he just loves fucking wheat. And he would always talk about how he wanted to do 100% wheat beer. And then this brewery in Texas came out and was like, "Oh, all our beers are 100% wheat, and no one else could do that." And like,
What?
you tell a brewer that no one else can do something, and that's gonna make them do it, right?
Do
So
you
Shane
think
was
that
like, "We
that
could do
was,
that.
like-
I want to do that."
Do you think that was like their plan the whole time? They just like wanted to have more wheat beers on the market, so they just like had some sick like reverse psychology, just like
Yeah, I don't know. It's a weird thing to say. Like, and that's also coming from Shane. So I never heard anyone say that. But
well, I mean,
it could have
since you
just
br-
been like he might have just dreamt that up one night. I don't know.
for sure. I mean, since you you brought up Shane, like when we were doing the like test run for this the other day with Tyler, he has a green screen I was expecting him to use, and I threw up the Red Hot Chili Peppers behind him. And I was just thinking about Shane a little bit. And I feel like if Shane was on this podcast, like you two would get along, Tyler, because he was like Josh was like into a bunch of bands, and you know, Josh, you'd probably know a little bit more about this subject. But definitely like in the punk scene, I think is safe to say.
Shane?
Yeah.
Shane is one of the most outstanding drummers you'll ever see play.
High praise.
He's amazing. Yeah, he's amazing. And he's in a band called Polar Bears, and he's been in a bunch of other bands. He played in Litany for the Whale, a very heavy post-hardcore band, and he played in with a band called Moggs. He's great. I've been on tour with him a number of times. We toured the whole U.S. in 2004. He's great. He's amazing.
And he strongly detests Red Hot Chili Peppers. So
Oh, yeah.
if you ever want to have a long conversation. And Sublime. Oh, well, I agree with them on that. I used to like Sublime, but now I'm just like...
I forget who made the Sublime beer.
AleSmith.
I can pick AleSmith. When AleSmith made that beer, I was like, that was back when it was just he and I. And I was like, oh, I'm going to get a bunch of that beer and just hide it around the brewery just to piss him off. But I never could find any.
Just like ice him with that beer.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's like, I'm going to put it up on top of tanks and like hide him under his computer.
Oh,
or like the dude will walk into a room and just throw his keys wherever the fuck he feels like it. So I'm going to take his keys and just put them in this beer.
Yeah, the guy loves to have long, impassioned conversations about rock bands that he doesn't like and sandwiches, for sure.
Yeah. He likes to talk about things he doesn't like more than he likes to talk about things he does.
So it's almost like he secretly loves them.
Maybe, yeah.
You talk so much about it, you actually love it.
What's the...
Yeah, at least passionate, at least.
Right. I mean, Josh, can you do a little rendition of Santeria for us, just so we could piss Shane
off? No, I'm on Shane's side. I'm not about to do that.
Okay, enough about Shane. The side of Shane is over. Let's continue with the beer.
So the start of the beer.
Yeah.
So Shane was always like, yeah, like you could write a recipe one day, blah blah blah. And I was like, well, I definitely want to do that. That seems super tight. And the best way to probably write a recipe for a beer that'll actually happen is to do something that my boss is all about, right? So I was like, yeah, 100% wheat beer. Like I'll do that. So like we sat down and we talked about it, and I didn't really know anything about brewing or making beer at the time. I was like, oh, we use malted wheat and we used flake wheat, and yeah, let's do that. And Hallertau Blanc is a hop I've heard of. Like, let's do that. So that was kind of the first one, and it was okay. That beer was tasty in the beginning, and as it got older, it started getting weird.
Do you remember the yeast strain for that?
I want to say that was just Chico yeast. That was back
California
then. We
weren't.
Yeast, yeah. We weren't using like all these crazy fucking yeast strains that we use now. It was pretty much just that and our French saison yeast. So I'm sure that's what it was. And then as I became a brewer and developed more recipes and stuff, I was like, man, I really wish I didn't waste such a good name. Oh, and the name came about because Billy, who was my roommate for 8 years, got me the job at the restaurant where I got the nickname, also got me the job at HenHouse. He told Shane and Colin that was my nickname. So when we made a wheat ale, Shane was like, yeah, we're calling it Big Country Wheat Ale. And I was like, okay, that's tight. Let's do that.
Nice.
So anyway, I was like, I wish I wouldn't have wasted that name on like a beer that was definitely not my greatest work.
For those of you who don't know, Billy is a longtime employee of HenHouse. He's the North Bay sales representative. And he was actually always my sales rep wherever I was hopping around to, because as Josh would know from previous podcast sessions, I had a lot of jobs, kind of worked for a lot of different places, a lot of smaller places, and helped them grow. And I was Billy employee number 1. Is that right?
He was, yeah.
Billy was number 1. Yeah.
Crazy. Okay, so like, yeah, he's been with us since day one. He's the epitome of a day oneer at HenHouse, and he was always super clutch for me as a beer buyer. I noticed pretty quickly after working with so many different distributors and individual accounts that working with HenHouse was super rad. And I was like, why can't everyone be like you guys? You know, even back then, and it's only gotten better and better.
Dude, he hustles for sure. Like I think the reason why we were such good friends and why we were able to live together for 8 years was our appreciation for the job. Like we both just like to work hard and grind it out and then come home at the end of the day and drink beer and complain to each other. But
that's what's up.
Yeah.
So the OG Big Country was an ale. The new style isn't an ale anymore. It's a lager, right? Which if you ask some purists, there's only 2 differences between beers, and that's top fermenting and bottom fermenting yeast.
They're all the same.
It's all the same.
Yeah.
So why the change to lager? Are you just more of a lager fan these days, Nick, or what was the thought process these days for that rather?
I definitely after getting into the industry, I became more of a lager fan when I realized that you could make a quality lager. It's not just Budweiser and Coors. There's actually some super tasty lagers out there, and when I was 21. I just want to get fucked up. Like, what's the highest ABV beer on the board? Give me that one,
Yeah.
And so
that guy.
When I got into the industry and I wasn't so poor anymore and I could appreciate beer a little bit, I started tasting some really nice Pilsners and stuff like that. And then I was like, so lagers really became my style. They still are. So when it came time to do this beer again, I was like, well, lagers really represent me more than an ale. And even the first one, like the idea was to be like a light, easy drinking beer. Just back then we got to do 1 lager a year and it was Pilsner and we did it on Shane's birthday and that was it,
Mm-hmm.
So now that we're building more of a lager program, I could actually turn that beer into more of a beer that represented myself.
That's what's up. Yeah, I mean, we are doing a lot more with lagers these days, and I think the plan is to continue that forward and even come out with way more lagers. And we bought new tanks for that. Is that the case, Nick?
Yeah, definitely. We're just starting, but it looks like we're going to be able to be putting out lagers year round now. And I mean, since the days of where we only made Pilsner, we've got a bunch of lagers now.
That's awesome.
So yeah, it's been super cool.
I just saw like somebody emailed our info at henhousebrewing.com. They're like, hey, I just realized if you like say Czech Pilsner the wrong way, it becomes Peck Chilsner. And I think y'all should name a beer that.
Peck Chilsner is a
cool dude.
Czech
Thanks for your input.
I'm like, tight. I mean, I wish I like would have thought of that on my own, to be honest.
I'm going to go ahead and say that the marketing department is such that when Colin was talking about brain gravy and he accidentally slipped up and said grain gravy, we named a straight beer after it. So it's possible.
Yeah. Brain gravy's origins is a hilarious one.
And it is actually, yeah, grain gravy is the name of the beer, but it was Colin drunkenly trying to say brain gravy.
I'm getting
Man, the
texts
amount
from
of
our
beer-
marketing director
beer
right now who's
concepts-
watching this, and he's like, vetoed. We are not making Peck Chilsner.
Peck Chilsner?
Yeah.
Peck Chilsner is a dope beer name, Sarah. You need to get with it.
Yeah, dude, figure it out.
Peck Chilsner is sick. Are you kidding?
Absolutely.
I mean, Josh,
Chilsner, just Chilsner is a dope Pilsner. name.
Chilsner, I'm all about that. Like, if they make a beer after me, I vote for it to be called Chilsner for sure. Just have like a redheaded fridge with a mullet.
Fridge Chilsner.
Yeah.
It's like your alter ego name.
And then there's like a frozen chicken in the freezer aspect of the fridge. Is that too dark? No.
It's okay.
What are some of the lagers that people can expect to see in this lager program, Nick?
Oh man, so we've got a Mexican lager coming out soon.
Nice.
We've got a Doppelbock coming out soon. Then there's always Green Mill, which is the dry hop pilsner. That's Josh's creation.
And man, did that beer go quickly?
Ooh, that beer's so good.
Yeah, that beer's killer. I noticed that there's like a couple 4-packs in the fridge still that were supposed to be for online sales. And I hit up our warehouse dude. I was like, what are we doing with those? He's like, nothing. I'm like, all right, well, those are mine. There's no way that beer could be that bad now.
Right.
No, it's still great.
Hey, Josh, did it get progressively darker in your room all of a sudden?
It feels like it's really dark in here now. Yeah, I'm going to crack a window.
Yeah, you
Hold
got
on.
it's nighttime.
Maybe I'll hit this ring light and see what it do right now. Hold on. Ready for...
Oh, shit. All right. A little lighting change, people. We're dialing everything in.
Wait.
Wait
Where
for
is it? Oh!
Oh, oh,
Ah!
oh, man. There's
Okay,
no
I'm gonna
dimmer
crack a
on that
window.
thing? Come on. There's got to be
that is the dimmer.
That's the dimmest? Oh, man. So what's the name of that Mexican lager, Nick? Oh, that's better.
So ask Josh, dude. I'm not the marketing department.
That one is called Little Shakespeare,
Oh, nice.
named after Chespirito.
All the stages of the world and the men and women are merely players.
Exactly. So Little Shakespeare is the Mexican lager. We've got Glamorous Life, which is what? Sayer, pipe in. Tell us what that beer is.
I'm sure he'll text me in a second.
That's this brew's for you, right? It's
like the redux of this.
Formerly a brewed IPA turned into lager.
Oh, interesting. Right.
Glam is the light lager, LITE.
Yeah. Yeah. We got Red Overalls will be coming back, I think, with a new name. Precious Metals and Jewels is always going to be a New Year's type beer.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
We got lots of lagers coming up, so should be
There's a
tight.
bunch. Yeah.
That
There's
Little Shakespeare thing is a reference to like a really famous like actor in Mexico, right?
Yeah, a Mexican kind of television actor.
Nice.
So yeah, it's but I'm excited for a Mexican lager. We've never really done one of those, right? So I'm stoked.
Well,
yeah,
yeah. Oh, sorry. Continue. Yeah. You're saying something. I cut you off.
I was gonna say it's similar to a Vienna lager, but a little bit different. So it's Red Overalls-esque, but it should be a little more limey, maybe a little more salty, and
cool.
just more crushable, probably.
Okay. Well, we've talked about the past, the present, and the future of our lager program, and the present is tasting delicious. But when we made this beer, it wasn't originally going to be a collaboration, but it sort of morphed into this collab with Beer Savage. So, Tyler, why don't you talk about how you and I first connected and how HenHouse and Beer Savage came to have this amazing friendship and collaboration?
Yeah, for sure. So I've got a lot of friends up in Santa Rosa. We do a trip up northwest of Shasta called the Trinity Alps, and I've known these people for 30 plus years now. We go every year. Everyone stays in the same cabin. They go to the same week, so they're more family now. And every time I go, I try to go up once or twice a year, but I'm on a short timeline. It's like, well, what's new, what's fresh, what's going on? Because it was just Russian River at that time or whatever. And then
Mhm.
like, oh, you got to try this new one. It's called HenHouse. I'm like, sweet, jump off the plane. Let's go. Damn, they don't open until 4. Well, I got to go. And so it happened like 3 or 4 years in a row where I just couldn't make it by. But I'm like, but I always tried it. But I always like to experience, the brewery, the staff. I'm a big customer service guy. Like I like a good experience when I walk in and I, hand the credit card over to pay. So I never got that experience, but I always loved the beer from the guy sharing. But down in SoCal, you couldn't get it. And then I randomly saw it at this liquor store about half hour from us. I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, they carry it. I'm like, who's distributing it? So then I told my local bottle shops, well, you have to pick up this company, HenHouse. And they're like, who's that? What's going on? We're focused, on this. I'm like, just trust me, get it, because I want to buy some. So then I went out to the Colorado River with my family and my cousin who has a house out there, and I bought a bunch and brought it out there, and I started posting it on my story, and then that's how you and I started connecting, because I just kind of kept it in the feed. It was like, hey, notice me, look at, I like your beer a lot, but it because I just like making those connections and relationships. And then I forget really how we started connecting. I remember jumping on a call, and it was just, I guess it was perfect timing, because Big Country's anniversary is there. You're looking at doing this. Like you said, it wasn't supposed to be a collab, but this could marry well together. And it was my first collaboration out of Southern California, which is really cool. So it gave me an opportunity to kind of, spread out to those different areas. But knowing like Santa Rosa has a special place in my heart, because I love it. Like it just, good family, good friends, good food. Like you're out in nature pretty much everywhere. So I was like, this could be really rad. And I think that's just kind of how we connected, and just kind of built this strategy to launch it in SoCal. And I released it with a buddy of mine. He has a restaurant called Project Social, and I mean, do an event in the pandemic world is a little challenging, obviously. And it was my first attempted event. Like, I'm like, I don't know how this is going to turn out, but they have a 2,000 square foot outdoor patio, so it made it a little easier. And after the event, I went the next day, and they said it was, to date, even, they were open pre-pandemic, it was one of the busiest days they ever had. And people that next day, where they were coming in for the beer, they were saying, I'm here for the HenHouse, I'm here for the release. Like, people here are looking for something new and fresh. Like, we have a lot of great breweries here, especially even in Orange County. It's definitely growing. Mm-hmm. But anytime you can't get something, how that FOMO theory works.
Oh, absolutely.
And you put it on social, and there you go. And it blasted. So that felt really good on my end to have something successful, because for me with Beer Savage, it's about how to connect the dots between you as HenHouse and the consumer that does not know you. Because I mean, how many breweries are there now? Like 8,000 in the country. Like,
yeah, it's pretty insane. I mean, I remember when I first started, it was something like 3,000 breweries when I first got into the game, and now it's almost 10,000. Or
yeah,
I mean, last time I checked, which was when I went to the Great American Beer Festival in 2019, it was around that number. So it could even be more or less depending on what happened with coronavirus, I guess.
Sure. And I think what's really important too, just with the social media reach, is that that people understand that I'm here for all beer. I mean, I don't care if it's dad's beer all the way to your craftiest of craft beer. It's just about this experience that you get and who you enjoy it with and how you enjoy it. So people definitely use my platform as a way to go, wait, what is that? Like, where do I find that? And then I get a lot of DMs going, cool release. Like, where can I get it in LA? And I'm like, well, I don't know, because I don't know where they're distributing it up there, but it's cool that people are seeking it and they're spending money on quality products. I mean, beer's not cheap these days. I mean, you're basically almost, paying bar prices sometimes just from retail to go, but people don't care. They want that experience, and they want to have that opportunity to enjoy something that was a collaborative effort. And then also, you had mentioned earlier when we were talking, like, which is a big point for me with Big Country, and I told you this, Fridge, is that the brewer gets missed every single time. Like, they're hiding, doing their craft, they're doing everything they do well, but no one celebrates that, because if you don't have good liquid, you don't really have a good business. You got to have, a great brewer behind, or a team of brewers behind the brewery, in order to really kind of ramp up everything else. And then it speaks for itself. So I always appreciate the brewer. For my videos, I try to have all the brewers in the videos, whether they're running leads or doing whatever, and it makes it fun to interact. And I hope you had fun doing that, Nick, doing that old yeah, you were a good actor.
Yeah, I was figuring it out. It was a little bit awkward at first, but no, it was funny because when I posted that video, one of my cousins commented on it, and she was like, all those years of doing plays at Christmas finally paid off. And I was like, oh yeah, I forgot. My grandma every year would make us do, every year for Christmas. My grandma would, I've got, including my two sisters, I think there's 11 grandchildren. And my grandma would make us do these plays every year for Christmas for like the moms and dads and stuff. And she was like, yeah, it finally paid off. I was like, dude, Nana was always looking out for me, always supporting my career.
I have a question for the script writer and or the actor. Who came up with the line, "This'll fix them up good and nice"?
Yeah, I want to know that too.
Because good and nice, I think good and there's a beer in good and nice as well. That's a great, as a marketing team member, good and nice is a great beer name.
I'm down with that.
That is not what I was supposed to say.
I would say that the script was a little different, as it often is with these high quality actors that are in Hollywood. You'll often see that the improvisational skills of that actor. That's the skills of the screenwriter.
I forget your time at the improv.
I forget what was I supposed to say, Fridge?
It doesn't matter anymore.
It's been a minute. I think it was like, oh yeah, it was like a special batch of my own. This should fix them up pretty good or something like that,
Yeah, and I was like, just saying this is a special brew of my own sounds weird. When he told me to say it, I was like, I don't feel comfortable doing that. It just doesn't sound right. And then I started talking and what came out was fix them up good and nice. Yeah. And Fridge, I think, started busting up laughing immediately. And I was like, well, that's what it is now. We shot that like 7 times and I just kept saying that. I think even at one point he was like, all right, this time, can you please just say that this is a special brew of my own? And I was like, yeah, okay. And I said it and he was like, no. Fuck that. Go back to what you said before.
I was being serious. You were supposed to say good and nice. What happened for a reason, for sure.
No, everybody that I showed that video to was like, can you please just say good and nice all the time now?
This
you kind of had a little accent in there too.
Yeah. Oh, I love it.
See, that's definitely letting the redneck out right there.
Yeah. See, when you put me in a cowboy hat and some cut off jeans and shit happens, man.
Oh, it's just natural. It's a completely normal and natural thing.
I'm just glad the video kind of blended between the two different.
Yeah, I mean that was a concern. I'd seen your other videos because Beer Savage has all these really great videos that they put out. And, I consider myself decent when it comes to filmography and videography and stuff like that. But I was just, I was asking Tyler, what settings should I have my camera on? Should it be HD 1080p at 30 frames a second? Or, what do we want?
I don't know.
Everyone that saw that video had no idea that we didn't shoot it all together. And people that know me, I was like, did you see the hand that handed the beer? That's not my fucking hand. It doesn't look like my hand at all.
I was cracking up about that. And I shot that from inside of my Jeep. And it was nothing like the
it looked cool, nothing like it, but truck. you can't tell. But but I mean, that's what I was, the videos turn out great and they're fun, but if it's a little raw and just kind of punk rock, I mean, I don't care. It doesn't have to be this high production deal, but because my best friend and I do it. The guy that films the videos, he was the guitar player in the band that we're in, so we're best friends and we work on the same wavelength. And it's nice to have someone that can just go well, do you understand? He's all, I get it. Let's just shoot it. Just give me the script. Mm-hmm. So, but it was good. He was worried because, it's just you remember it was supposed to be raining that whole week and just it was sunshine.
Super overcast always where it was at, and then all of a sudden it was bright and sunny right when I filmed my part of the video, and I'm like, sweet, this is gonna match down in SoCal, perfect.
Yeah.
and then like rainstorm down in SoCal, like right when you go to shoot your part of the video. I was like, thanks.
I know. Yeah, it was good to have an opportunity to take on a challenge like this too, because it would have been fun to come up there and shoot the video, obviously, because I want to meet you guys. I mean, I like going through the brewery and all that fun stuff. But considering the situation we're in with, you know, lockdowns and just being careful on travel, it was fun to have that experience to try to mesh the two together, and I feel like it was very successful. And it was just fun, man. And just the whole take on trying to recreate the whole Harry and the Hendersons intro where they hit.
Yeah, that was our
Bigfoot
original concept, little Harry and the Hendersons shout out.
It's just like, it was fun because I'm like, oh, I got these ideas. I'm like, I want to try to do this, but how do I incorporate it with Beer Savage and like the company? Because also what's really important to me is making sure that it's not what I want. It's does it fit with the brewery's ethos? Like, does it make the most sense? Because I'm adaptable and I have to make sure that, you know, it fits what you guys are doing. And I felt like it was good and you guys were satisfied with it from what I hear. I mean,
Oh yeah, man. It was well received. Like one of the most viewed videos that we've ever put out, actually.
Awesome.
And I liked all the stuff that your buddy Jeffrey was filming. What's his name again? His full name?
Jeff Lascola. Yeah.
Jeffrey Lascola. Yeah. Yeah, he's an incredible filmmaker. Like, you could tell how polished his stuff was. I could see, like, versus my stuff. I was like, oh man, this guy's really good.
Sometimes what's more funny is he'll actually take time and do outtakes and like edit them together where you say like really stupid stuff. And that, like, those are way more like valuable to me than the actual video sometimes. 'Cause I'm like, oh God, I actually said that. And then he pieces it together. Oh, look at the banner. There it goes. But
let's talk about the music that we put on there. We asked you, Nick, like, what was some music that you like to listen to? And what did you come up with?
So you asked me that, and I was like, fuck, I don't know. Let me go through. And so actually, Dave Rosie, who's one of our bartenders, along with a million other things, he and I have similar tastes in music, and that dude, like, everything he does, he just dives into it so hard. So I was like, he'll know better than I know, like, what the best thing is. And he was like, well, it's got to be Whiskey Myers Just Got Paid. And I was like, oh yeah, Whitey Morgan, great. Right? Yeah, Whitey Morgan. Sorry, see, he knows more than I. Yeah, Whitey Morgan Just Got Paid, right? So I was like, that's fucking great. And then you asked me for a few examples, so like I went through like my latest listen to music, and they're all pretty similar, but I was like, that's the one for sure. So I sent you that list, not knowing what you were gonna go with. And then I got the video, and that was the song. So I got to give Dave credit for that one.
Yeah. So Beer Savage ended up putting that song out. We wanted to go with a local musician up here because we're all about that. Working with the local artists is a big part of what we do at HenHouse. Proud of that. So, Josh, you recommended Mr. John Courage, who's pretty well known up here. You want to talk about him a little bit?
Yeah, John Palmer is a singer and songwriter, guitarist from the area, performs really, has in the past and will perform again rigorously around the area and all over the world, in fact. He has a bunch of songs he's working on, and he gave us a demo of one that seemed similar. Like, I'm a fan of Just Got Paid. Like, if you want to talk about, like, I'm a big ZZ Top fan, love the early ZZ Top stuff. And being a punk rock fan, like Big Black did a version. No, sorry. Maybe it was Rape Man did a version of Just Got Paid, which blew my mind a long time ago. And I was like, okay, this is great. Great song. But I'm like, it's less of a, I love using local stuff, and we got to, but I'm like, are we going to get busted for using this Whitey Morgan track, which I love too. But I'm like, let's find someone local. And I think that's something we're trying to do across the board.
To like put a veil over it. Like, we just really love working with local artists.
Tiptoe around it all you want, but it's fear is the motivator.
Using something that was originally a ZZ Top thing too is like also very much me, because when I was in like the 4th grade, I came across my dad's greatest hits ZZ Top album and started listening to it. And I was like, this is fucking tight. I love all this music. And then I saw their beards and I was like, I'm going to grow a fucking beard like that.
I want
My mom was like, good luck. She was like, your dad couldn't grow facial hair till he was in college. You'll never have a beard like that. And I was like, oh yeah, I'll have a beard by the time I graduate high school. And when I graduated high school, I had a really gross, barely beard. but I I got this now, and so this is full ZZ Top inspiration.
Oh, dude! Not only
So
is
it-
your
it
beer
does-
game on point, but your beard game is also on point.
Love it.
That is awesome. Yeah, I mean, going back a little bit to like how we met, how we connected. From what I remembered, Tyler, I remember, getting a message from you at one point, just you expressing yourself like, oh, I really love HenHouse, and you were telling me like you had a really good connection to Sonoma County and up here, and I just got the impression that you might have known like one of the guys somehow, like maybe from the old days with like the touring bands and stuff like that. It's like super possible. I thought like maybe you actually knew Shane or you knew Josh or something like that. And then we got to talking, and I remember like thinking about other beers that were coming up on the schedule, and like what would work with Beer Savage to collaborate with us on. Because, from my point of view, I kind of saw you guys as kind of like a lifestyle brand, like you guys make cool beer clothes, you collaborate with breweries, you do videos. And I was like, what could we do? So I was just thinking like, Big Country's coming out. Maybe we can make like a koozie or something like that, And then I asked Josh, like, hey Josh, you want to like work with this cool brand, and you're like super overworked and shit all the time, and you're like, Fridge, that sounds great, but like let's just let them like roll with it. Like,
Well, here's something
let them design it.
I was familiar with the brand because of the horror movie stuff you guys were doing. So I like had been checking out the website and stuff, and I knew it from like the Freddy shirt and from the the 3 big ones, the Michael, the Freddy, and the Jason shirts.
Oh,
yeah.
that's what's up.
So I knew about it, and I knew about the logo, and I was more like, whoever they have illustrating their shit, have them do it. Like if they are interested in collaborating, let's get a totally different take on it. They have a great illustrator on staff, obviously. So let's have them work on it. I am overworked, yes, but that's not the real motivation, because I feel like I did definitely go in there and I colorized it and worked a bunch on stuff, but a better, like, I feel like a lot of the time I'm a better collaborator, even with stuff I designed from the ground up, than I am a solo worker. So like even before I do any label, I'm always like, guys, give me some ideas, throw me 20 ideas and I'll pick the ones that stick, and then I'll go working, because I feel like collaboration is my strong suit. So having like the Big Country logo come across from your illustrator, Tyler, and having the Big Country, like having everyone involved to curate what became the Big Country label, like that banner behind you, Nick, was like, that's a bunch of people's ideas all wrapped up in one thing, and it's and the shirt,
awesome.
Yeah, it came out really awesome.
Oh yeah, I mean that original. I remember like sending you to like that original drawing. And who was the artist, Tyler, that did the illustration?
That's Tristan Ellis.
Yeah, New Cross on Instagram, new.cross.
Yeah, he was the one who drew this logo.
Yeah. Ooh, so cool.
He did the original.
That's what I was hoping for.
Yeah, that's what Frigid said. It's like, he's like, oh yeah, he really likes the original drawing. I'm like, okay, so I hit him up. He's busy. He works for Ruka now. He does a lot of their cut and sew design and whatnot. And it just so happened he was jumping back into some more freelance just to make some extra money and do it. And I was like, dude, I have this project. He's like, oh, that sounds rad. He's all, sweet, my art on a beer label? That sounds amazing. It's sometimes like artists never have that opportunity, and it's just really cool for a portfolio, not to mention a branding perspective, going to all the shelves in the grocery stores. And so he's like, yeah, I'll do that. And And I just said, I want this. Kind of like, what you say, you need inspiration, you need this stuff. I'm all, this is what I'm looking for. I like this, and this. Throw the keg on his shoulders. Here's the hen. Do whatever. And then, literally, while we were talking, after we got off the phone, like 2 minutes later, he sent me this sketch. Like he was literally drawing it while we were talking. He's all, does this look good? I'm like, oh yeah, dude, just run with that. Like it's perfect.
Oh man, it was great. I was like, what? This is so dope. Cause I remember we were on like a Zoom call, like me and you, Tyler, and like, we're just like, oh man, what are we going to do with this thing? And we were drawing inspiration from like a hand drawn napkin drawing that Nicky did. Like he's one of our bartenders, Nicky London. And he like drew a picture of Big Country from like way back in the day.
What was
the fresh?
What was the caption?
He was doing, so Nicky was doing like a, give me something on Instagram, give me something to draw and I'll draw it. And like, I was just like, Big Country.
Okay. Nice.
And he sketched up that sketch of me. And so that's when we decided that we were going to do this beer. That was one of the examples that I sent Josh.
What was the caption again?
Oh yeah, there's a little caption down at the bottom
on the drawing.
I don't remember.
I don't know. He had like an American flag over his shoulder too, or something.
I'm here to. It's about crushing skulls and crushing beers.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
crushing skulls, crushing cans.
Yeah, I think you texted that to me. I'll have to find it, but
yeah, I really like that.
Yeah,
I remember like we were talking about like what if the flag was like a flag that said lager, because like we could sense the ongoing like lager craze that craft beer is currently in right now, which is dope. I want
it's great.
more lagers.
So I got it. He says, I only crush lagers and skulls and I'm all out of lagers.
Oh my God. See, that's like right out of They Live. Like,
yeah, it's pretty great.
I'm here to kick ass and chew bubblegum. I'm fresh out of bubblegum.
Yeah, there's the drawing. There's the original Nicky London inspiration. Yeah,
that's the OG. And then that plus your tattoo.
Plus, right?
Yeah. So we had these, two things going on.
But you know what's great about it? Because when you look at, because that's that standard, it's that Sasquatch, that famous, Patterson Gimlin photo or whatever it is. Mm. But I like on the label, it's completely the opposite. He's like, oh, hey.
Yeah. He's not hunched at all. He's
not trying to hide.
No, yeah, it's like, more of like a back arch.
I'm here for the party. Let's do this.
Yeah.
And I love how he kind of has like a little bit of a like werewolf vibe too. It's like he's a Sasquatch, but he's kind of like Teen Wolf plus Sasquatch, like Teen Squatch, right? I remember we were talking about that.
I get a Teen Wolf vibe from both the Beer Savage logo and from the Big Country logo. Yeah,
freshly 21 Squatch for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The
drinking age Squatch.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
21 only. Yes.
21-year-olds look like teenagers to me now. Anyway, so we're good.
They do.
Yeah.
But actually the original, when Tristan drew that, so we were working in the shop together and I said, hey, I got this idea after I'd kind of come out of, that whole winery experience. I want to do a beer brand, but I want Teen Wolf and the Bad Boy Club put together drinking beer. Can you do that? He's like, oh yeah, that sounds good. And then it was like a month went by and then he just shows up one day with literally this, like no edits, no nothing. I'm all, that's it. I'm like, I'm just going to run with it. And it just makes sense. Like, cause it's just nice when you can, collaborate your ideas. Cause I have ideas, but I can't draw worth anything. So I'm like, yeah, you do it. But it makes it fun when it makes it easy, especially on this project. Cause I don't think we really had many renditions of this at all. And I know Josh, you did all the background and kind of moved some things around, but it worked perfect, man.
Yeah, certain things were like having the cool like log lettering and the drawing ready to go. I was like, this is great. I can take this and like take it to I can put it on a label is essentially what I wanted to do with it and make it like, I mean, there's only a few small tweaks that took to really make them together. And one of them was making that leg striding over the logo and making the leg, the swash on the end, making that like making little 3D elements to it, which is, I love doing that kind of stuff. So that was a pleasure. Doing the coloration of it was fun. And like things you don't see in the banner, but you see on the can is that there's like silver elements, like the keg is silver, the belt buckles are silver, everything else is kind of like,
all the knockouts.
Yeah, totally. That's like, I love that technical production art stuff.
Yeah, my favorite piece on that whole graphic is the spurs. Like I love just he's got no shoes on, but he's got spurs on. It's amazing.
So sick.
It's a great accessory for him. Come on.
I mean, I would say that this beer is definitely a smashing success. Like, it's moving very quickly through the tasting room. I know we're already sold out of it on wholesale side, so like, you know, that crushed it. We're probably gonna run out of the Big Country here in the tasting rooms within a few days, if not like maybe a week maximum. Definitely by the time that this like comes out, it won't be available anymore. But you know, we're going to do another release of this beer for sure. Your actual anniversary is in September, is that right, Nick?
September 30th.
Okay, yeah. So I think we're planning to do another Big Country release around then.
Which is perfect because my birthday is October 5th.
Oh, sweet.
No, dude. Nick, mine's October 7th. We talked about this before?
Well, I feel like we've talked about this before.
Yeah, we have. Yeah.
If we all get our immunizations, we can have a joint birthday party. I will help throw it.
Well, let's hope everything's open by then too.
Yeah, exactly. And it would be great to have you come up and see us up here, Tyler, for the, you know, I've only ever seen you on the digital realm. But I would love to actually see you in person.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Yeah, usually like when I come up there, we our group of friends will go up to Anderson Valley and play a disc golf tournament up there. I never play disc golf except for when I come up there. So it makes it fun and it's just cool. But that's when I can do all the tours and, you know, see all the breweries, but haven't hit you guys yet. A little sad.
Yeah, I mean, there's a nice little disc golf course right by us at Taylor Mountain too, like literally less than 10 minutes from HenHouse. Actually, where I took the 4-pack photo for Big Country is right in the parking lot at Taylor Mountain's like disc golf course right there. Nice. I was like pissing off some disc golfers because I was like right next to one of the holes when I was taking the photo at first, and I was like, "Oh, sorry guys," and it worked out because I like went over to the post.
But how do you piss off a disc golfer? It's not like you just throw the disc.
I mean,
they're so high.
Yeah, you're so high. You know, that was a mutual feeling, though. No, I'm just kidding. You know, they were chill about it. If I was like on an actual golf course, I probably would have been shot. But thankfully, it was just a disc golf course.
Dude, random note, I did an event at a golf course, like a really nice one in Newport Beach, and I had my guy that wore the costume, and all he did was walk through the woods through every single hole. So if you see a ball, he would hide behind the tree and he'd wait for the golfer to come and then just walk out in front of him, just scare the hell out of him.
That's awesome.
Like, it's just fun. It's like, I'm all just walk the entire day. Just go, you know, go take beers to people and bug them on the golf course, and they're loving it, dude. I mean, it's fun.
That's what it's all about. Yeah. So definitely excited about this beer. Excited about the future release of this beer. It's been really cool getting to know you, Tyler, and having this cool collaboration with HenHouse and Beer Savage has been super worth it. Love the video, love everything about it. I love all of you. Feeling these beers start to metabolize a little bit, perhaps. Yeah. All right. Well, let's just throw up a little cheers if there's still beer in your all's cans. It's been an absolute pleasure chilling with everyone here today. So
it has been. Yeah. Good to meet you, Tyler. Good seeing you guys.
Yeah, you as well. I mean, it's been a pleasure. I think for me, you know, you guys obviously have a strong, tight connection. And, you know, I'm the outsider coming in, getting to know you guys. But the opportunity to do this collaboration, you work with the team and get to know you guys, it's like I feel like we're super tight already. And it feels good to have that connection. So when I come up there, I feel like it's not going to be like, oh, hey, this is what I do. It's kind of like, all right, we're all going to hang out and have a few beers and hang out. So it's good to meet people that have this point, same, you know?
For sure. Yeah.
It's like everyone has this, you know, we all have different histories in what we do, you know, whether it's music, art, this, that, the other, brewing beer, but we're all connected to this liquid, and it allows us to expand our, you know, our friendships and even, of acquaintances, whatever you want to call it. And you never know what happens next. That's the beautiful part about it. So I
Hey, well
appreciate
said,
you
man.
guys. And
Yeah.
look forward to doing this again.
You too. Yeah. Thanks
Can't wait
again.
to have a beer in real life.
Absolutely. That is
Real
going to
life.
be the
Oh.
day.
We're going to shotgun beers for sure.
Yeah.
We can make up for lost time for sure.
We're going to recreate this, but around a table. And we're all
We
actually
do.
clink the
Absolutely.
glasses. Yeah.
I did see you, Fridge. You took down about 3/4 of a pint within about a second and a half there. So I'm
Yeah, dude.
sure you're the
That was nothing. That was me being like slow and steady for the cameras here. When the
Okay,
cameras
so
are
the-
off,
this is the
it's another
first one
thing.
you're doing here for video and YouTube. So let's why don't you send it off with an ender? Pour yourself
well,
a nice tall one, and I want to see this.
unfortunately-
Damn it.
I'm a little empty here. My 2 allotted countries are gone at this point. But next time,
Next time.
drink responsibly. Do as I say, not as I do. But anyway, I appreciate y'all. Thank you so much for doing this fun little experiment on whether or not we can bring a visual medium to the Unruffled podcast going forward. I feel really good about it.
Yeah, me
And
too.
I wish you all well and hope you have a great rest of your day. I hope you get to go to the bathroom right away, Nick, because I know you got to go. All
Oh,
right.
as soon as you say we can go, I'm going.
All right. Cheers, everybody.
All right, guys.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you guys.
Yeah.